Few people remember that President Clinton has already bombed Iraq in June of 1993. Although the claim was later proved to be false, Clinton asserted that Iraqis had been involved in a failed attempt to assassinate former President George Bush. The day after the bombing, Clinton attended a church service where he was asked about the casualties of the attack. The president responded that all Americans should be proud of how their military performed. But many Americans were not proud as they discovered there were numerous civilian casualties. One Iraqi killed in the attack was painter Layla Al-Attar. Her husband was also killed. She was a leading member of the Arab art world. She was killed when her house was destroyed by what is now referred to as a pinprick attack. The explosion also blinded her daughter. Dennis Bernstein, a reporter at Pacifica station KPFA in Berkeley, had a chance to speak with her daughter Rema just a few days ago because she is in California. And this is the commentary he offers us after that conversation.
With all that wall space in the White House, perhaps the president can find some room for a painting by Layla Al-Attar. He may not remember her, but he should. She was the Iraqi artist who was blown to bits by the bombers sent to punish Saddam Hussein in 1993. So was her husband. Their only daughter, Rema, survived blinded in one eye. Rema, little dear in Arabic, left Baghdad soon after the bombing. She has had 5 operations on her face in Los Angeles and Toronto and is still in pain. She was 24 when the bombs changed everything. In 1995, Rema married and moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, where her husband has a business. Trained in Iraq as a draft designer, Rema took courses at a local community college until their baby, Layla, was born 4 months ago. Rema is anxious to complete her courses in interior design as soon as possible. I can still do this work with my one good eye, she says. The Clintons might call on Rema on their way to visit their daughter Chelsea at Stanford, which is only a few minutes away. She might shed some light on the consequences of the impending decision to bomb Baghdad again. It is possible the Clintons remember Layla Al-Attar. Surely the president was thoroughly briefed on the air raid. It was June 27, 1993, in the first months of his presidency. As commander-in-chief, he announced he was acting to foil a plot to assassinate former President George Bush during a victorious visit to Kuwait. The plot turned out to be a ruse. Rema was not only terrorized by the bombing, but confused. It had nothing to do with us, she says. My father was a successful businessman. My mother was an artist. I used to work as a display designer in a museum. We had nothing to do with politics. It was 2 years after the war had ended. It was 2 a.m. when the bombs started falling. The family was sound asleep. There was no warning. We heard an explosion and felt the walls shake. We tried to get out, but we couldn't do it. The whole house collapsed on top of us. Rema has never received an apology from the government that stole her parents away from her in the prime of their lives, leaving her for dead under the broken stone and rubble that was once her home. She was buried alive for 5 hours. I was very deep under, and no one could hear me. I was dying by the time they got through. They didn't get to my parents for another 2 hours. It was 2 hours too late. Layla Al-Attar was director of the Iraqi National Art Museum and a powerful force in gaining recognition for women artists in Iraq and throughout the Middle East. She was also, her daughter remembers, very beautiful, very well respected, and very kind. Rema does not speak of anger and revenge, but of sorrow and fear. I get scared so easily now. I can't do anything. I always wear dark glasses. and she has one major concern: her brother, who miraculously escaped serious injury when smart bombs turned his parents, his home, and his entire way of life into a bit of acceptable collateral damage. I am very worried about my brother, she tells me. He is still in Iraq, and they are getting ready to bomb.
Collateral damage.